able to influence that, making it even more ironic that the advancement for breeding animals, the parrots and the bats, involves two unbreedable mobs.
Now, on their own, the villagers don't seem particularly fast, but that's just because we don't see them under pressure. As soon as a villager is under the panic of nightfall, these Squidwards can get some serious speed going, and in fact, they actually move faster than Steve's sprinting speed, which is definitely impressive. And if they move that speed all the time, maybe they wouldn't need golems.
By this point, I think we're all plenty aware that Mojang made Minecraft. I mean, it's kind of hard not to notice, but by chance you didn't, this secret might help you realise. As others have noted, when you look through the symbols on the Ender Crystal, they can be rearranged to spell out none other than the studio's name, Mojang, and that's probably the coolest signature I've ever seen.
Within the game's code, Minecraft has a few hidden messages directed to the player, and the Suspicious Stew is a key example of that. See, the logic behind this edition was for the developers to communicate that lilies in the valley are actually poisonous in real life, which is nice to know, but it's not like daisies give regeneration in real life, so the message might not always come across.
The smithing table has been through quite a few changes during its short time in Minecraft. When it was first added in Snapshot 18W44A, Minecraft's smithing table used to look like this. It's a sort of modified crafting table with some different tools along the side. I suppose it makes some sense. Back in 2014, ex-Mojang developer Lightmelt was asked to include a tribute scene to a fat rabbit named Toast. And after that feature was confirmed, this started the conversation for more rabbit varieties. And of course, this week, Twitter user 88 suggested including the killer rabbit from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, adding both a fun Easter egg and a terrifying way to go.
For anyone who's been playing Minecraft for a couple of years now, you've probably noticed something a little different about your beacons lately. As it turns out, as of Snapshot 19W41A in Java Edition, you can no longer see the full beacon beam when you look up through it. Now instead, you're just going to get these little particle effects along the side of your screen.
Sometimes it's possible for two hostile mobs to get angry with each other, but while I'm sure you've seen this happen with skeletons and zombies, two creatures get to be fighters on their own side. But if this happens, creatures both have limitations and resistances to all slash potions. So if this happens, you'll have plenty of time to
The list of words in which everything appears, actually contain the letter J, which even though you have that show up, they can still have a symbol attached to them, which I guess makes sense for why they make ones be off to the other two. Also, or a good time with Scar's Jellycat, there's no shortage of real-life connections here. And Jeb is one of his own. As Lydia Winters confirmed, the Tuxedo Cat's skin has a striking resemblance to Jeb's own pet cat, Newton. So if you have a name tag, you can pay tribute to that as well.
Items are supposed to go in hoppers, but what about mobs? Baby chickens are able to hide within hoppers due to how small they are. This allows you to place a block next to them for a compact chicken trap, or put lava right next to them. Just hope that they don't move, or you'll be having roast chicken tonight.
With the advent of bees in the 1.15 overhaul, I'm wondering give us something we would put in our bottles. And while that's nice, there's a little detail here I can't quite understand. If you look at the two textures, you can see that a honey bottle is 4 pieces more full than a water bottle, which is strange, but maybe that's why we can't craft water blocks like so.
One of the main features of the Doctor Edition 1.6 was the addition of K-Bales. Added in the Snapshot 13W16A, and Minecraft K-Bales is the
Ravagers were tested in Snapshot 18W43A. These pillager monsters were afraid of rabbits, which is a fun Easter egg, but unfortunately, Jen confirmed in a tweet that it is illegal to maintain the beast's lore. Eggs and salad is not a common form of transportation, and while I do allow for a modern glitch like so, that is in practice. introduced Mo Creatures mod, which, of course, had its own horses. From there, Mojang used these models as the baseline for the new horses, just like that.
Turtles turn into wooden bowls when they die from lightning. That's really sad. We can actually use this cruelty to our advantage to generate infinite bowls. All we've got to do is use a trident with channeling, hit a turtle, and harvest its shell. Just, use a few planks and save some animals.
Clearly, in a game called Minecraft, you're gonna have a bunch of crafting recipes, which makes it all the weirder when some of them get removed in later updates. Take horse armor, for example. When initially added back in the Snapshot 13W16A, they have crafting recipes like so, but just 24 days later, they were removed. So I guess we'll have to stick to Fortress Check.
Generations risk of illnesses like measles and whooping cough is rising. If we're not vaccinated, we're not protected.
Get our supply. Golden tools aren't exactly known for their durability, or rather, they are, but not for good reason. And you ever wonder just how bad they are? Well, apparently, it only takes one snowball to find out. See, if you take the snow or a snowball's feet, your golden shovel won't even last 4 seconds before it shatters. And I don't know if it's soft or really, it snows too, so that just seems pathetic. On May 17th of 2019, Minecraft celebrated its 10th anniversary. And with that, if you actually happen to place a cake on that day, you actually see that the cake model is modified as ready to display anybody made out of like lumber. Much better pockets for our pork. Bats don't tend to get a lot of attention. After all, they don't drop anything, so mostly just leave them be. But if you keep getting ignored by these flying rats, there might be a reason for it. You see, between October 20th and November 3rd, these moths spawn more frequently as a reference to Halloween, and that's cute. Bats still do this. Does it catch on fire? Minecraft has plenty of rare things to see, but one that was particularly tough to find was a naturally occurring snow golem. Prior to Snapshot 17W47A, there was a 1 in 5 trillion chance of a pumpkin either generating in a snowy biome or an enderman placing a carved pumpkin like so to spawn a snow golem.
Shulkers are a downright pain, and we can all agree on that. But while they're not too friendly in the end cities, they're much nicer when you use these commands. By adding a shulker to a team, you can use it as a defense mob, meaning it won't attack you with your teammates, but rather use its projectiles on other hostile mobs. And that's a welcome change if you ask me.
Usually, when you see a skeleton, your first instinct is for fight or flight. But if you stop and look them over, you'll see this. In Java Edition, 89% of skeletons are right-handed, and the remaining 11% hold a bow in their left. And this emulates the estimated right-handed to left-handed percentage in the real world. And thankfully, there aren't any ambidextrous skeletons in the game. The Spyglass is one of the cooler additions to the 1.17 update, and it's a nice alternative to Optifine Zoom when you need a closer look. But something tells me this is a bit too close. Sure enough, using the /item replace command, you can place a spyglass on Steve's head and have it appear smack dab in the center of the face.
Even though Minecraft's a sandbox, the game still has some given rules, like how you can only type 16 characters for the title of a book and quill. That is, when typed like this. But through the help of an anvil, we can circumnavigate the limit and get a much longer title, and I can think of some books that need just that.
Of all of the blocks that exist in Minecraft, the only 3 that can naturally generated all three dimensions are chests, obsidian, and bedrock. And because of that, I guess technically each dimension is some way for you to get an ender chest on your hands as well.
What came first, the pig or the creeper? Besides Steve and the removed human mob, the creeper is the oldest mob in Minecraft, but you might know the story of the creation of the creeper. The creator was trying to make a pig, but messed up the dimensions of the body. The pig is the oldest existing passive mob in the game, and technically the first mob intended to be in the game.
Roughly 8 years ago, on July 31st of 2012, Notch first hinted at the idea of a command block in his Reddit AMA. Here, when asked about more minor updates that the team was working on for the future, he mentioned that they might be working on some kind of script block, which, as we can see now, in reference to the adventure mode, turns out to be the command block. And even though at the time Notch said this idea might have felt impure for the game, all of us who were playing with the different mini games and command labs that have been made with this are definitely thankful for them. The Village and Pillage update was a huge status quo change for how we see these mobs. And while there were plenty of gameplay changes, we also got a fair share of new fashion to see as well, a lot of which is pretty out there. But as the lead artist confirmed on Twitter, the idea of something crazy like a lily pad hat came from the 2018 fashion shows Gucci and Mike. And after looking at some of those runways, the villagers fit right in.
Mob spawning definitely has some quirks. For instance, even though mobs can't spawn on transparent blocks such as slabs of glass, instant head blocks work just fine. This is not to be confused with the regular instant block. That block lets monsters spawn inside just like any other block.
Such a rare item in Minecraft server, but for a time there was something even rare. See, when they were adding these weren't exactly real, but these were removed from the lucky exploration tree. And that first that they existed on a small island map in the Diamond Walls. So those cookies have been sometimes Mojang makes a change that doesn't seem all that important. And while there might be room for discussion on that, this one's hard to argue. See, prior to 1.16.2, Pufferfish went even gave the player a nausea 2 effect. But since then, it's only nausea 1. Though since the level of nausea doesn't impact the effect's potency, it really doesn't make much difference.
I'll go out on a limb and say that nobody likes to be poisoned, and even fewer people like to be lied to. So with those two facts, it pains me to say that Minecraft is doing both. Recent Potion Poison 2 has a face that costs me 22.5 seconds, times it's 22 down.
To another Microsoft game, Age of Empires, where the priest can turn enemy units into friendly ones. And that'd be why you hear this sound as well. It's from the game. As the lead creative designer, Jem has a lot of say in what goes in the game, and apparently that can lead to some personal choices. So after Jem's wife kept asking for a bear in the game, he told her that if they ever had a bear of their own, he'd add in the mob, which just so happened after their son was born. Polar bears were added to the game, and the son was named Bjorn for the Swedish word for bear.
Minecraft is synonymous with customization, so obviously the fireworks fit the combo team. With all the different ways to deck out your rockets, have you ever wondered how many options we have to choose from? Well, currently there are 2 to the 10,136 distinct fireworks to use. That's more than the number of atoms in the universe, which is just insane.
Minecraft doesn't have a lot of flying mobs, and I think that's a missed opportunity, so we changed them around and we used something called the light trace. See, with command, we actually touch a place with the there's something even better, or at least there will be. Seeing separate combat test snapshots, Mojang currently has a change that will allow shields with banners to have more absorption, giving 10 instead of 5. It's a way to replace with actual shield variants in Final Run. Right now, a little banner goes a long way. It needs some kind of unique
box is 2.01875 blocks tall, oddly specific. Husks can't fit through a 2-block tall doorway in Bedrock Edition, but they can in Java Every great artist tends to sign their work, and apparently Minecraft textures are no different. Though I wouldn't blame you if you never noticed the hidden autographs on the armor stand, since they aren't visible on any part of the item or entity. But look at the texture file, and sure enough, both Sarge and Japper have their names right here on the bottom, hidden from plain view.
Clearly, fish don't do well on land. And if you drain out a nearby lake, then the best you'll be left with is a bunch of floppy something or others. Though, we could use that to our advantage. See, if you take a fish, or even a guardian, out of their natural habitat and put them on a slime block, then they'll keep bouncing up and up until they reach some serious height, even 17 blocks high in some cases.
We all know diamonds are a great resource to have, which is why it's all the more unfortunate that we can't farm them. Or at least we can't farm them like this. Because all it takes is a visit to a village to find yourself a renewable supply of all diamond tools, weapons, and armor. So you gotta get infinite jukeboxes, but the rest is pretty much taken care of.
When hoppers were first added into the game, they initially only had a work in progress texture, but maybe not the way you're thinking. Because as you can see, this only showed up when you have a hopper inside of your inventory. Even with that said, it's still pretty funny to walk around with a WYP just hanging around in your hand. While the invisibility potion effect is almost entirely invisible to different maps and players, as it turns out, there's something in Minecraft that we don't know about. As you can see, any invisible
But that's a real world fact.
Now, despite what you might think, there's actually only one transparent block that cannot be placed on ice. And guess what? If you can't, then there's actually some layers that cannot be placed on top of ice blocks, which is likely
Less malarkey, more smarty. Search Smarty Mobile.
Tinker's item editor gives
actually have the same health, 100 points. The Giants can't even do that right. As soon as you hoe a dirt block and turn it into farmland, then all of a sudden you're not able to place ladders or torches along the side. But even though that's true, you still could do this with signs. As you can see right here, you can type your favorite message on it and it's going to stay on top of that farmland.
Bone meal is a surprisingly powerful tool, and as someone who doesn't like waiting, it's essential for me. But apparently it's more robust than even I thought. While we're all familiar with bone meal on the top of a grass block, it can also work from the sides and bottom. It'll even work if a plant is already on top, making this super substance even easier to use.
Game development isn't always a perfect process. Like sometimes you go to code a pig and instead make a terrifying monster. And while it's a fun story, it's apparently not a one-off. In the development video for the Village and Pillage update, Mojang revealed that foxes originally looked like this whole mess. And now I'm both disappointed and relieved this never made it in the final version.
If you've ever worked with observers, you're probably aware that getting these blocks the right way round isn't always an easy task. Apparently, even Jeb had some confusion over this. The reason that observers have their current face texture is because Jeb kept forgetting which bit was the front, so this projected texture was dug up as a solution.
If you've talked to a cartographer, you've probably seen one of these things. That being the Coveted Explorer map for finding mansions and monuments. While these look like regular maps, it turns out that
Render distance works in a couple of different ways in Minecraft. While most That's why shulker boxes disappear when you're too far away from them, because even though they're placed like a block, the game still classifies them as an entity.
Minecraft enchantments are a great thing, but they don't always make sense. And while it's weird to use a fire aspect book for lighting TNT, I think it's even stranger that we can put mending on a carrot on a stick. But if you've got the levels, I'm sure the pigs appreciate it, though I still can't get over the image of a regenerating carrot.
Unless you're a wandering trader, the invisibility potion probably doesn't get a lot of use, which can mean that certain uses go unchecked and sneak by in the code. Prior to snapshot 14W05B, if you hit a mushroom with a potion effect, its mushrooms remained visible. And it's understandable the Mojang would fix this for the effect to work properly, but it's quite fun to revisit.
As many of us know, beacon beams can't pass through solid blocks. But if you're worried that you can't use a beacon inside of the nether unless you go into the nether roof, don't worry. As it turns out, if you place a beacon underneath bedrock with no other solid blocks like netherrack in between it, then it'll actually blast through the bedrock roof, and look, you've got a fully powered beacon.
To speed up game development, it's nice to cut corners when you can, and Minecraft's textures have plenty of examples of that. What's weird is still is which they decide to reuse and which they make
What the hell? Huh? I didn't move. The game just made me move for some reason.